Hi, my name is Rishkan, and let me tell you a story, one that changed my life forever. I'm growing up in a small town where everyone seems to have their life figured out except me. My classmates are getting top marks, teachers are praising them, and parents are beaming with pride. Meanwhile, I'm sitting at the back of the class, staring at my blank notebook, wondering why my brain refuses to cooperate. No matter how hard I try, my marks are lower than a limping camel's hump. Teachers have already decided Rishkan is a lost cause. My classmates, they don't even try to hide their laughter. And my parents, their silence stings more than their words. Every time I sit down to study, I promise myself, this time I'll focus. I'll study for hours. And then, 15 minutes later, my brain wanders off like a monkey at a fruit market. I feel trapped, powerless, like a leaf in a storm, tossed around by something I don't understand. Then one day, my friend Kivrin says, "Hey, there's this Zen monk staying near town. People say he's got the wisdom of 1,000 lifetimes. Maybe he can help?" At this point, I'm desperate. If a talking parrot had promised to make me smarter, I'd have listened to it. So the next morning, before the sun even stretches its golden fingers across the sky, I set off toward the monastery. The monk who saw through me. The place is quiet, the kind of quiet that makes you hear your own thoughts louder than ever. There, sitting like a stone carved by time, is the monk. His eyes are closed, his breath as steady as the tide. He looks so peaceful, it's almost unfair. Like he has cracked the secret of life, and here I am, struggling with basic mathematics. I sit in front of him, waiting. Minutes pass, more minutes pass. I shift uncomfortably. My legs are already complaining, but I refuse to move. If he can sit like this for hours, I can at least survive a few more minutes. Then, without warning, his eyes open. They are ancient, deep, like they have seen stars be born and mountains crumble. "Why have you come, young one?" His voice is calm, yet it seems to stir something inside me. And just like that, the dam breaks. Tears spill down my face before I can stop them. "Master, I am failing. No matter how hard I try, I can't study. I can't concentrate. My teachers don't believe in me. My parents are disappointed. I don't know what to do." The monk watches me silently, as if reading my soul. Then he smiles. "You think you are the only one?" he says. "The world is filled with those who once thought they were failures, but failure is only real if you choose to stop. Tell me, do you wish to change?" I nod, wiping my tears, then listen carefully. "You become what you think." The monk leans forward, his gaze steady, like a mountain that has seen countless storms but never trembled. His voice is soft yet sharp, like a blade wrapped in silk. "Tell me, young one, if a farmer plants mango seeds, will he get oranges?" I blink. "No," the monk chuckles. "And if he plants weeds," I sigh, "then his field will be full of weeds." He nods. "Exactly, and yet here you are, filling your mind with the weeds of doubt and wondering why no fruit grows." He reaches out and gently taps my forehead with one knuckle. "Your mind is your field, Rishkan. What you plant, you will harvest. What seeds have you been planting?" My throat tightens. I lower my eyes. Unworthiness, doubt, fear. The monk's voice turns into a whisper, but it cuts through the air like thunder. "Stop letting others be the farmers of your mind." I look up. Your teachers, your classmates, your past failures, none of them hold the power to decide who you will become. Only you do. Yet, you let their words, their laughter, their judgments plant seeds in your soul. Why? I have no answer. He stands up suddenly, walking to the edge of the garden. The early morning sun stretches across the earth, bathing everything in golden light. He picks up a small seed from the ground and holds it between his fingers. "This," he says, "is the beginning of a mighty tree, but it does not doubt itself. It does not say, 'I am too small, I will never grow.' No, it simply follows its nature." He plants the seed in the soil and pats the earth gently. "If you whisper to this seed every day, 'You are weak, you will never grow,' will it listen?" I shake my head. He raises an eyebrow. "Then why do you listen when people say the same to you?" My breath catches. "Rishkan," he continues, "do you know why weeds grow faster than fruit trees?" I hesitate. "Because they don't require effort." He smiles. "Exactly. Doubt, fear, self-pity. These are the weeds of the mind. They spread fast, they take over, and they require no effort at all. But wisdom, confidence, success, these are fruit-bearing trees. They take time, patience, and care." He kneels and traces a small line in the dirt. "This is where you are now." He points at one end. Then he moves his finger to the far end. And this is where you could be. What lies between these 2 points? Effort, I guess, he nods, and choice. Every single day, you choose what kind of mind you are growing, a garden of doubt or a forest of strength. I exhale. Something deep inside me shifts, like a door unlocking. The monk places a hand on my shoulder. His grip is light, but his presence feels like an anchor. The mind, he says, is a sacred space. Guard it well. For the words you repeat to yourself today will become the reality you live tomorrow. If you believe you are weak, you will never find your strength. If you believe you are strong, the world will one day believe it too. The sun climbs higher, and I feel something new stirring inside me, hope. And for the first time in my life, I wonder, what would happen if I started planting the right seeds? Lesson 2, the power of focus. The monk places a simple clay cup in front of me. It sits there, still, unshaken by the breeze, waiting. Fill this with water, he says, handing me a heavy brass jug. I pour. Keep pouring. I hesitate, but I obey. The water rises to the brim, and then overflow. It spills over the edges, soaking the table, dripping onto the floor. The monk bursts into laughter, the kind that sounds like he just heard the greatest joke in the universe. This, he says, waving at the mess, is your mind. I stare at him. My mind is leaking? He grins. Yes, and not just leaking. Flooding. You pour in thoughts, distractions, anxieties, worries about the past, fears of the future, until nothing useful stays inside. I sigh. Okay, so how do I stop overflowing? His smile softens. By learning to pour with control. I raise an eyebrow. And how do I do that? He leans forward as if about to reveal a great secret. Meditation, I groan. Oh no, not that sitting like a statue thing. The monk cackles. Ah, the impatience of youth. You think meditation is about doing nothing? No, my friend, it is about doing one thing, fully. I frown. What thing? Breathing. The wild horse of the mind, he makes me sit cross-legged and close my eyes. Now, he says, focus on your breath. Feel the air enter, feel it leave, nothing else exists. For a moment I do it. I feel my breath, I am aware of it. Then, boom, my brain rebels. What's for dinner? Why is meditation so slow? What if I never get smarter? Why do pigeons walk so funny? My thoughts are bouncing like a frog on hot stones. I groan, opening my eyes. Master, my mind is out of control. The monk laughs. Of course it is. Your mind is like a wild horse, running wherever it pleases. You have never tried to tame it before. But tell me, if a wild horse is trained every day, what happens? It becomes disciplined? He nods. And the same is true for your focus. Right now, it is a drunk grasshopper, but with practice, it will become a steady flame. I sigh. And how long will that take? The monk grins. How long does it take to train a horse? Years? He shrugs. Perhaps, but a single step in the right direction is already a victory. He instructs me to try again, this time with a small trick. Each time your mind wanders, he says, don't get frustrated, just bring it back. Like gently pulling a horse's reins, the river that carves stone. I take a deep breath. I close my eyes again. In, out, in, out. For a few moments, there is peace. Then, bam! Random thoughts attack. I start bringing my focus back, again and again and again. It is exhausting. It is frustrating. But for some reason, it also feels powerful. The monk's voice drifts toward me. A river carves stone not through force, but through persistence. I open my eyes. He nods. Do you see now? Focus is not something you have. It is something you build. Something shifts inside me, a realization. I may not be able to control my thoughts instantly, but if I train myself, if I return my focus again and again, one day my mind will be steady. The wild horse will become a war horse. The leaking cup will become a still pond, and I will become someone new. Lesson 3. Discipline is freedom. The monk and I are sitting under a great banyan tree, its roots twisting into the earth like the fingers of time itself. The air is warm, the leaves whisper secrets to the wind, and somewhere in the distance, a bird sings as if it has solved all of life's mysteries. The monk turns to me, eyes twinkling. Tell me, do you know why the sun rises at the same time every day? I blink. Because that's how the earth works? He grins. Yes, but more importantly, because it must. I frown. What do you mean? He picks up a handful of sand and lets it slip through his fingers. Imagine if the sun was like most people. One day it rises at 6 a.m. The next, it sleeps in until noon. The next, it forgets entirely. What would happen? Chaos? He nods. Yes, without rhythm, there is no harmony. Without discipline, there is no growth. I sigh. So you're saying I should study at the same time every day? The monk laughs. Not just study, my friend. Live. The rhythm of greatness. He gestures at the tree above us. This tree, do you think it grew tall by accident? I shake my head. No. It followed the law of discipline. Its roots dug deeper every day. Its branches stretched higher every day. It did not wait for motivation. It did not wait for perfect conditions. It just grew. I look down at my hands, suddenly ashamed of how often I have waited for the perfect mood to study, the right moment to work hard. The monk sees my face and chuckles. You are like a man who wants to learn swimming but refuses to enter the water until he is ready. I groan. So what's the solution? He leans forward, his voice like a drumbeat. Set a fixed study time. No distractions. Stick to it every day. Not when you feel like it. Not when it's convenient. Every single day. I rub my forehead. Easier said than done. He shrugs. So is climbing a mountain, but step by step it is climbed. The bridge between wishing and achieving. The monk suddenly stands up and stretches. Come, let's walk. We wander through the monastery garden where rows of monks are sweeping, watering, planting. None of them rush. None of them slack. Their movements are steady, rhythmic, peaceful. Look at them, the monk says. Do you think they wake up every day excited to sweep the floor? I shake my head. No, but they do it anyway. And that, he says, is why they are free. I frown. How does sweeping the floor make them free? He smiles, because discipline is freedom. When you control your habits, you control your life. When you control your life, you control your destiny. I let his words sink in. For years I have seen discipline as a prison, a chain that forces me to do things I don't want to do. But now I realize, discipline is not the prison. It is the key. Discipline, the monk says, is the bridge between wishing and achieving. And in that moment, I know, I will cross that bridge. Lesson 4. The classroom is your battlefield. The monk and I are sitting in the shade of a temple wall, the afternoon sun painting golden streaks across the courtyard. He holds a bamboo stick in his hands, twirling it absent-mindedly. Then, without warning, he tosses it at me. I flinch. It hits my shoulder. Hey, he smirks. That was a lesson. I rub my arm. A lesson in what? Getting ambushed? He leans in. Tell me, if you were on a battlefield, would you let your mind wander? No, I'd be focused. Exactly. And yet in class, you let your mind drift like a lazy cloud. That, he taps the side of his head, is why you struggle. I swallow. I have always treated the classroom as a waiting room, half listening, half dreaming, expecting knowledge to magically seep into my brain. But knowledge is not a gentle rain. It is a treasure buried in the teacher's words, and I must dig for it. The war for understanding. The monk walks over to a nearby well, picks up a bucket, and drops it in. If I pull this bucket up halfway, will I get water? I shake my head. If I pull it up lazily, will I get water? No. He yanks the rope with steady force. The bucket rises, heavy and full. He tilts it toward me. This is how you must learn, fully engaged, fully present. Otherwise, you're just pulling up an empty bucket. I sigh, thinking of all the lessons I let slip through my fingers. No more, I whisper to myself. The monk claps my shoulder. Good, because the classroom is not a waiting room. It is your battlefield. If you win there, the war is already half won. I nod, gripping the imaginary hilt of my sword. From now on, I will fight for my knowledge. To be continued. Lesson 5. The body and mind are one. Later that evening, the monk and I sit by a small fire, the scent of burning sandalwood curling into the night. He lifts an oil lamp and tilts it, watching the golden flame flicker. What happens, he asks, if you put bad oil in a lamp? I yawn. It burns weakly. Exactly. He sets the lamp down and looks me straight in the eye. Your body is your lamp. Feed it poorly and your mind will flicker. Eat well, exercise, sleep deeply, your brain will shine. I blink. Wait, are you saying my bad grades might be because of my diet? He grins. If a farmer sows weak seeds, should he be surprised when his crops do not grow? The recipe for a sharp mind. He plucks a handful of almonds from a small pouch. Eat these every morning. I take them, chewing thoughtfully. Pumpkin seeds, walnuts, good for your brain. I nod. No heavy meals before studying. Sleep before midnight. Move your body every day. I groan. This sounds like a lot of effort. The monk laughs. So is carrying a heavy mind. Which burden do you prefer? I hesitate. I have always thought of my mind and body as separate, like two people forced to live together. But they are one. A sluggish body means a sluggish mind. A restless body means a restless mind. I sigh. Fine, I'll do it. He smiles. Good, because a warrior with a sharp mind but a weak body is like a sword without a handle, useless in battle. I smirk. And my battlefield is the classroom. The monk winks. Exactly. Lesson 6, minimize distractions. I tell him how I get distracted easily. Where do you study, he asks. On my bed. He sighs. Do you cook in your bathroom? I laugh. No. Then do not study where you sleep. The mind associates places with actions, he tells me. Find a distraction-free space. Turn off notifications. Take short breaks. Small changes, he says, create great results. The transformation. I leave that day with a heart full of fire. Days turn into weeks. I meditate, I focus in class, I stick to my schedule, I eat well, I exercise, and then something incredible happens. I start understanding my lessons. My grades improve, teachers notice, classmates stop laughing, and most importantly, I believe in myself. The monk's final words. Months later, I return to the monastery. The monk smiles. Ah, my student returns. Tell me, what have you learned? I bow deeply. That I am not my past. That my mind is my greatest tool. That discipline is power. That failure is not the end, it's only a lesson, the monk nods. Then, my friend, you have truly succeeded. And to you, reading this, remember, a little progress each day adds up to big results. Your future is waiting. Will you take the first step? Beautiful life lessons from Rishkan's journey. 1. You are not defined by your past. Rishkan believed he was a failure because of his poor grades, but the Zen monk reminded him that the past does not control the future. A bad chapter does not mean the whole book is ruined. Life gives us fresh pages every day. We just have to pick up the pen and write a better story. Do not let your past steal your future. Every sunrise is a new chance. 2. The power of self-belief. The monk asked, if a farmer plants mango seeds, will he get oranges? The answer was obvious. The same applies to our minds. If we plant doubt, we harvest failure. But if we plant confidence, we grow success. Whether you think you can or think you can't, you are right, Henry Ford. Focus is a superpower. Rishkan's biggest struggle was concentration. The monk taught him that a distracted mind is like an overflowing cup. Nothing stays inside. Through meditation, he learned that focus is not something you are born with. It is something you train. Like a sword, it gets sharper with practice. Where your attention goes, energy flows. Lesson 4. Discipline is the bridge between goals and achievement. At first, Rishkan studied whenever he felt like it, which meant almost never. But the monk showed him that setting a fixed routine makes the mind ready. Like the sun rises at the same time every day, a disciplined mind knows when to focus. Small daily habits lead to great lifelong results. Learning begins in the classroom. Most students believe studying happens only at home, but the monk taught Rishkan that true learning happens in the classroom. If you listen actively, half the work is already done. The secret is not studying more, it is studying smarter. The sharper the axe, the lesser the effort. 6. A strong mind needs a strong body. The monk compared the brain to a lamp. Bad oil leads to weak light. Eating junk, skipping sleep, and avoiding exercise weaken the mind.